Is that because you had killed some hostages?
Look,
I'm really interested in what you have to say about...
Mga Sangkay, isa pong matapang na reporter ang humarap sa isang leader ng Hamas at halos mautal-utal po itong leader ng Hamas nung i-real talk po siya sa isang katanungan ng isang matapang na reporter sa international.
The question there, when will this war end? Joining me live now is the Hamas head of international relations, Bassem Naim. You're in Doha, Bassem, as I understand it, for hostage negotiations. So what are the terms of this ceasefire?
We are not talking about a ceasefire. We are talking about a humanitarian pause for 4 days.
Difference?
It will start. And it is a more technical difference. It is not a full comprehensive ceasefire. Most of the artilleries, most of the tanks are still inside the city, inside the hospitals, in the street, but it is a stop of firing for humanitarian reasons, so that people can move freely, can search for their beloved people if they are still alive or not. They can buy something. But the crossings will be open for the 4 days to get some of the humanitarian aids from outside into Gaza Strip. Part of this humanitarian aid will be for the northern part of Gaza, and this is for the first time since 48 days, where the northern part of Gaza was totally cut from the outside world. No food, no fuel, no electricity, no communications, no water. And the other part is for the southern part. We hope that during this time that we can at least help the people on the ground to get something to be able to survive.
Will you be using this time to recalibrate and get more weapons to fire into Israel?
I think in the presence of hundreds of tanks inside Gaza, in the presence of this mass destruction of 13,000 people killed, it is maybe unjust, if not unfair, to talk about this imbalanced war between people who are under occupation for 75 years and defending themselves, and those who are occupying the land, occupying the people, suffocating them for 17 years, and now they are claiming to be the victims of the people who are defending themselves.
Let's get, how many hostages will you release and when?
I think based on the deal between the two parties, the Israelis are going to release 150 of our children and women who are now, some of them for years, in Israeli jails. In exchange, around 50 women and children will be released from the Palestinian side.
Yes, how many hostages are you holding? How many Israeli hostages are you holding? How many will be released at 4 p.m. today?
Yes, we are talking about two categories. We are talking about the soldiers and the civilians or foreigners or dual citizenship. Regarding this, the soldiers, Al-Qassam Brigade talked about around 200. About the other category, which is the civilians, and I mean women, children, elderly, and foreigners, we are talking about around 50 to 60.
50 to
but
60.
Now, no one can exactly can exactly give a number, because
why not?
Because of the heavy bombardment and the presence of these captured people in different areas with different groups, it's extremely difficult now to give exact numbers or figures about the captured or the hostages.
Is that because you had killed some hostages that have been in Gaza over the last 48 days?
How? From where you get this information?
It's a question, Bassem.
No, you cannot raise such question, because it is impossible to accuse us where we are bombarded. And we have clearly said at least 60 of the hostages were killed with our families and still under the rubble of our houses because of Israeli shelling and bombardment. How can we kill someone who we are considering as a guest or as a hostage?
You consider these hostages as guests?
By the way,
is that how they're treated?
By the way, from the first day of the confrontation, we have said we are ready to release all the civilians, including the foreigners, but we need security conditions so that it is safe to release them. But Israel, unfortunately, have always rejected this offer and have said we will continue bombarding Gaza and killing children and women until we get our prisoners released by force.
Sure, but missiles have still been fired into Israel from Gaza over the last couple of weeks. Do you want this war to end?
I think Palestinians are under occupation for 75 years, and Israeli tanks shelling our people on a daily basis for 75 years. We are under siege, suffocating siege for 17 years. Our children are dying because of hunger, malnutrition for decades, and therefore we are occupied people. Israel is the occupying power. If they are not happy with our presence beside them, they can leave us and leave us alone. And therefore it is an act of defense. But shelling, having tanks inside of hospitals, killing children,
well,
women.
Let me ask you about the hospitals, Bassem, because we have seen the pictures, the horrific pictures of babies being killed. But Hamas has built tunnels and stored weapons under the biggest hospitals in Gaza. Under the rules, international rules, that makes them a target in warfare. Isn't it Hamas putting these innocents at risk?
Honored lady, I am very surprised that you are talking about things the Israelis themselves, they were not able to prove it. They have this propaganda.
Bassem, this is really important. I'm really interested in what you have to say about this, but we have seen vision provided by Israel. We have seen vision provided by Israel of tunnels under Al Shifa hospital. Are you saying that's not true?
I am sorry, you are misled or misinformed, because you cannot give me any proof, because the Israelis themselves, they were not able to prove any of these allegations. They have said about the Shifa hospital as if it is a head or as a center of command and control, and they found nothing. They found some bottles of water. They found
weapons,
some CDs. No weapons. Do you believe that a command center of Hamas will be directed by a Kalashnikov in the MRI center? MRI center, you cannot have a ring in your hand to be inside the room. Again, the Israelis have failed to prove all of these allegations. The same thing when they have said beheading of babies. It was proven false. The raping of women, it was proven false. Burning of civilians, and then Haaretz, the Israeli newspaper, have proven that it was Israeli jets who have killed and burned all these citizens. I think you have to read again what the Israeli media talking about their actions or their attacks against their own people in the southern part of Palestine.
Well, there's Western journalists that have gone into Gaza with the IDF, and they have seen these tunnels, these weapons, these storage of musicians with their own eyes. So I don't know what other proof we can get. But look, Hamas is accused of using Palestinian people as human shields. So can I ask you, why do you use money to build tunnels, store munitions instead of...
Do you believe I am a Hamas leader. When I live with my family in my house, in my land, is this using my family as a human shield? Because they are considering me as a legitimate target. Is this a human shield, having my children, my wife, my brothers, my sisters, my extended family in my house, in my land? Is this a human shield? Who is using a human shield? Who is building settlements and using his own people in settlements inside Tel Aviv as a human shield, and all these military compounds in the settlements, in the kibbutzes around Gaza Strip?
Well, Bassem, let me ask you this, if I may. Let me ask you this. When Hamas attacked Israel on October 7, you killed 1,400 people, innocent people, including babies, whole families. How did you expect Israel to react?
Sorry, again, because you are, unfortunately, you are misinformed. They have said at the beginning it was 1,400 civilian killed. Then the Israelis themselves said, no, it was not 1,400, it is 1,200, because 200 of them have been proven to be Palestinians. Do you believe that we will kill our people inside Israel? But Haaretz 2 weeks ago have proven that all these people, the 1,400 people, including 200 Palestinians, our own people, they were killed by Israeli jets blindly attacking the musical festival. This is the hardest.
So you're saying, sorry, Bassem. So you're saying Israeli jets killed these young people at the music festival? Is that what you're alleging here?
Yes, this is not I say this. This is why Haaretz
Israeli jets. There was no bombings at the music festival.
This is the Israeli media.
Innocents
this is the Israeli media.
I'm sorry, Bassem. That is completely untrue.
Why?
So you think Israeli jets killed innocent Israelis at a music festival? Why?
Because simple. Israel is believing. The IDF is believing in the so-called Hannibal doctrine. Hannibal doctrine means in the IDF, if any Israeli is arrested or captured or something, the Israelis given the IDF give themselves the right to attack the captured one and the capturer in the same scene. And this has been done many times. For example, in 2014, one Israeli soldiers were captured and they have killed him with 300 other Palestinians.
Yeah, okay.
And again, I refer you to Israeli media outlets who are talking about all the civilians who has been killed by the Israelis.
We're getting deep into conspiracy theory territory. Bassem, thank you for your time live from Doha. We'll leave it there.
Please. Thank you very much.
That's Hamas spokesperson. They're live. So you heard those claims for yourself at the end of that interview. We are really getting into the realms of ridiculous.
So para pong binuhusan ng isang malamig na tubig, itong isa sa mga leader ng Hamas. Talagang na-real talk po siya dito at halos hindi niya po masagot ng diretso ang katanungan. Talaga nga namang mapapasaludo ka sa tapang ng isang reporter at babae pa naman. Matapang na itinanong ang katotohanan tungkol sa ginagawa nitong Hamas